Hi, I'm Maggie Lee, and I'm the Deputy Director for Museum Planning for the Sanitation Foundation, which is the official nonprofit of the New York City Department of Sanitation. One of the main goals of the foundation is to create a museum of sanitation, which would celebrate our workforce and its rich history of keeping New York City alive. So we're here today at Manhattan 11, which is the sanitation garage that services Harlem. And what we're going to look at is an astonishing 45,000 piece collection rescued from the trash by sanitation worker Nelson Molina. Most of what we'll see came from a very specific section of Harlem, from 96th Street to 110th, from 1st Avenue to 5th Avenue. So let's take a look.
My name is Nelson Molina. I work for the New York City Department of Sanitation for 34 years. I was hired in 1981 and retired in 2015. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you on a tour into the collection to show you some of the pieces, some of my favorite pieces and everything in the collection. What we're looking at here now is I call this the thrift shop, because this is where all the fragile and all the small stuff that I found, I picked up and I put on the shelves. Everything here is kind of small and everything. I got some signature baseballs that I keep in here and everything. So in here is all the tiny small stuff. I got some trophies that you can see there and everything. So this is where it all started. This was built in 1992. Me and my two co-workers. We used this here as our locker and everything, so I started putting up shelves. And once I started putting up shelves, one guy left because he didn't fit. And then I put more shelves up, and the other guy said, Nelson, we can't fit in here, so he left. So I just put everything in here, what you see in here, everything from all the small pieces that I found, I picked up throughout our years. So this is what I call the thrift shop. This is where everything started. So I started, had a passion for picking through the garbage as a young kid. At 9 years old, I had two block radius from Pleasant Avenue to 2nd Avenue, from 116th to 114th Street. And what I would do, I would go out a week before Christmas and pick through the garbage. I knew people in the neighborhood were throwing out their old toys for their kids, getting new ones for Christmas. So I would go out and pick through the garbage and pick all these toys up. Even if they were broken, I would take them home and try to fix them. My brothers and sisters would call me Santa Claus, because I would come with a bag always with toys and everything for them. On this table here is a bunch of trolls. I know we were getting these when we were kids and everything. We always saved them, and then at one time we threw them out. So these are a table full of trolls, all different types, all different sizes and everything. On this table here, we have a whole bunch of Beanie Babies, Thai Beanie Babies that were famous in the 80s and everything like that. People would always buy these for these kids. They're full of beans inside. And then after a while, everybody started throwing them out, and I started picking them up. On this table here is all my porcelain dolls, as you can see. They look scary if you look at them on a picture. I had a person come one day to the tour, and she said that this picture that she saw on the internet scared her, the way these dolls look and everything. Here we have a Steiff bear, which is made in Germany. It's got the little tag on the ear. everything is there. We had the lady from Antique Roadshow, she picked this out and she said, these are collectibles, these stiff bears and everything. So this is where I keep all these porcelain and stiff bears and everything like that in this collection. So what I got here is a picture of Jacqueline Kennedy. We had a lady from the Antique Roadshow come over here and she picked this one out and she said, she looked at it and she said that she knows the photographer that took this picture. And also she checked the signature and it's actually the signature of Jacqueline Kennedy. So this is an original. So what we have here is the poster that the New York City Department of Sanitation puts out when they're going to hire people to work. So they'll put these out, they'll make these and they'll put these out. So this is the truck, they'll put them out here on the side of the truck. And as we doing our job, people will come up to the truck and take the information down. Over here, these are my co-workers from here that work in Manhattan East 11. This is me over here. Also, we have a book here. It's called Picking Up. It was written by Robin Nagels. It's a very interesting book. She talks about us, and she went out and worked for a few months on the truck with the sanitation workers, and she knows how what kind of a job that we do and everything. So this is an interesting book. So if you guys have a chance, always try to pick this book up and read about it. Taximeter from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When my mother used to take us downtown, we used to take a cab and everything and put us in a checker cab, and this is how we paid. You know, they would put this on and everything. And when your ride was over, they'll calculate what it was and everything. Inside this checker cab, it was so big that they used to have two seats on the back of the cab, and you used to put them down, and we used to sit on there, and my mother would sit on the chair with all her gifts and everything. So this is a taximeter from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Where we are now is where the typewriters are, and we're going to talk about this particular typewriter over here with this Invoice.
I think this invoice for framing from 1944 is really interesting because it says that we guarantee that the goods covered by this invoice were produced or manufactured in accordance with the Federal Child Labor Act of September 1916.
The whole collection is my favorite, but I got two pieces in the collection that are real dear to me and everything. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is the Star of David, which was found on 98th Street, 97th Street and 5th Avenue. And I picked up the bag and it almost just came out of the bag because it's so heavy. And I was reading it and it said, presented to Joseph Askins in memory of 9/11, created from the steel of one of the World's Trade Center. We contacted this gentleman and we put it on the CBS News, and one day the guy calls up and he asked for me and everything, and I explained to him what I had, and he said it was it, he had it in storage. What happened, they moved, they left the storage, they didn't bother with the storage, and I guess somebody bought it and wasn't interested in this piece, so they ended up throwing it out. So this piece is from 9/11, from made from one of the steel, one of the buildings from the World Trade Center. So this is one of dear pieces to me, because I worked at 9/11. I worked for one day. I ended up coming back because my father got sick, and he ended up passing away 3 days later. So when I came back here, I couldn't go back to work at 9/11 at the site over there. And the reason why that's so dear to me is because that kept me from going back. And if my father wouldn't have passed away, I always call it a sad story and a happy story. The sad story is that my father passed away, and the happy story is that I didn't have to go back over there, or else I wouldn't be here today. This is another one of my favorite pieces of the collection, these 4 stained glasses here. They're from St. Francis de Sales, a Roman Catholic church on 135 East 96th Street between Lexington and Park. These were found at 97th Street between Lexington and Park. They were inside a black bag, they were folded, and the reason why I think these things were thrown out is because they're building high rises around the church, and I guess they had to take these glass out and probably board up the windows, and they just ended up throwing these in the garbage. I picked them up, and they're about 125 years old. The church was built in 1895, so I'm going with that year that these are the original glass from the church. Okay, so what we got here is a piece of furniture that I found on 96th Street between Madison and 5th. And this is an antique table because it has some brass hardware on it. So when I found it, it was all folded up. It was missing a leg. So what I did is I needed it to stand up. I took a piece of wood and I put it up against it and I measured this and I made this piece of leg here just so I can stand it up. So sometimes I find furniture that's broken and I try to fix it, repair them and everything. The reason why I took it is because it got this special hardware here where the table folds sideways. Put it up and then you can fold it sideways like this. So I know it's an old table because it has this old hardware here. So this is the leg I put together to match it. I didn't stain it because I wanted people to show people that I also do repair work on what I find. So that's a cool table. And this guy goes here to match him. Then we got the other moon over here. So this is what I do. I don't only find stuff. When I find stuff, some of the stuff is broken. I repair. If I find a poster, I take care of the glass on the poster. I put new glass and everything. If I have to fix the frame and everything is from the garbage. All my tools, all my hammers, all my screws and nails and everything is found in the garbage. So that's how I work, and I take care of everything here. Well, when we go out, we do our route, and everything we stop. We pull up to our first stop was on 97th Street on 3rd Avenue. So once I get there, I'm already looking at the bags. I'm already picking bags out that I already know that have something inside. I have these sensors that go off that I know there's something in the bag. So as we're picking up the bags, I put these bags on the side, I pick them up, I shake them, and I hear something, I open it up, and I pick things out of it. I already know there's something in the bag. My coworkers tell me, how do you know that? It's just doing it for such a long time that I already know the difference. You know, one time my partner threw a bag in the truck, and I heard something, I pulled the bag back out, I opened it up, and he says, how do you do it? I don't understand how you do it. It's just these sensors that I got that tell me that there's something inside the bag that I can take out and use and put into the museum.